Hello, everyone. Welcome back. How is everyone doing? Let me know in the chat. All right, so we're back, and this is part 3 of the series that we've been talking about. That we go from how to go from survival mode to restoration. And last time we were talking about how you have been practicing all of these patterns. You have been doing this all of your life, that now it's something normal. Now it's something that it's part of your personality, you might say. But is it really, right? And so today, I want to tell you how being aware of this. And perhaps you're like, okay, now I need to go do some mindset work. Okay, yeah, that's helpful. Being aware, doing mindset work is very helpful. However, is not enough. That is not enough. Okay. So let me know in the chat if you can hear me okay. All right, so I want to get started, and I want to tell you guys how understanding the pattern is important, right? Like you can think about and you say, oh, like I noticed that that triggered me. Or I noticed that this situation brings certain emotions or certain feelings in me. But knowing the pattern and understanding it, you can still repeat it. Okay. And so these are some examples like if you know that you're overthinking things, right? Like every time that you're about to make a decision, and you tend to overthink and you can't turn your mind off, right? I heard someone say sometimes they can't put on the PJs to their brain so that like their body can go to sleep, their body can be resting, their body can be like a flat on the bed, but their mind is still going on, right? Another way that this shows up is that you perhaps know that you need boundaries, but you still keep saying yes when you want to say no, or you say no when you want to say yes. So think about where are the places where people perhaps they invite you to places and you want to say no. You know in your gut feeling that you don't want certain things, but you say yes because you're afraid of the reaction, right? And so when are you saying yes when you really want to say no? Think about that, right? Another way is that you know that you deserve rest, you know that your body needs to rest, but you feel guilty slowing down. Somehow you still feel guilty. Like you're like, I can't go and rest, or I can't go take a break because this, and this needs to still be done. Like, who's going to do it? Right. So you know you're exhausted, but you're keeping yourself like there in the hustle mode. You keep pushing yourself anyway. So let me know in the chat if this is resonating for you, if you have been there, because I know that I have been there before. And now I know that understanding this pattern doesn't automatically change the pattern, right? So just knowing that, okay, yeah, I know that that's there. I'm aware of it now. But how do I actually make the change, right? And so let me tell you that the reason why you're still stuck is because you are keep repeating all of these patterns, right? You practice them for so long. Like for example, you feel very anxious when it's like Monday morning, for instance, right? Or you feel like perhaps, I don't know, maybe you've tried everything out there. You've read the books, you've listened to the podcast, you perhaps have listened to my videos or know my work, but you still feel frustrated, right? You still feel like, why can't I just get it together? Like, why can't I just do it? Like, I know the theory of things, but like, I'm still repeating the same thing, right? So you might look like you're successful on the outside, but you're overwhelmed in the inside. Okay. Does that resonate with any of you? Let me know in the comments if you're watching this in the replay as well. And so this can be very exhausting. It's very exhausting to be carrying the same emotional weight year after year and nothing changes, right? Because when you become informed of something is not the same of being transformed, right? So for example, think about when you learned how to drive a car or operate a machine or something that you learned how to do, right? Did you learn the manual and then all of a sudden you were like, "Oh, okay, I know how to drive." You knew the theory. You knew the information. You knew the names of things. You knew the process of it. But until you sat yourself in the car and until you actually turned on the car, you actually pressed on the gas, you actually looked in your like in your mirrors, you were actually you were actually going through the transformation of being a non-driver and now becoming a licensed driver. Does that make sense? And so people know they have a manual that they should rest more. They know that they need to take care of themselves. They know that they need to set boundaries, that they need to stop people pleasing. But knowing what to do and actually sitting in the car and actually living differently are two very different things. Okay. So you don't always need more information. You're bombarded. You constantly are getting bombarded in the world out there with what you listen to, what you're reading. So you don't need any more information. You need that support, right? That mentor that is right next to you that implements what you already know, right? So when you go to, for example, to take your test, your driving test, you have the instructor next to you because they are watching to see if you actually are doing the thing that you read about, right? And so I want you to just kind of like think and reflect, right? Just look inside and ask the questions. What is it that you actually want? Right? What is it that you actually know? And what is it that you actually want? What if peace actually didn't feel so unfamiliar? What if it wasn't as unfamiliar? What if, like, you already knew this, but then you already felt it, right? What if you already didn't wake up feeling so overwhelmed every time? What if, like, your mornings instead of when like when you wake up, instead of saying, "Ah, here we go again," and snooze, what if, like, you just woke up ready to go, feeling energized, feeling full of life, feeling like, "Okay, what's the fun today? What are we doing for fun today?" What if you trusted yourself more? What if you were certain? What if you, like, carried this assuredness within you that every decision that you make, you just made it because you trusted yourself, right? What if you stopped carrying everyone else's emotions? This was big for me, right? Because you're surrounded by your family, your friends, coworkers, people. And even though people would say you're always very bubbly and bright, like I would carry their emotions because I would feel like I emphasize with them. Like if someone was feeling down or if someone was struggling with something, I would feel that. But then I would carry it with me until I realized that it wasn't my responsibility. I could still give them love, I could still give them support, right? But it was no longer my responsibility to carry their emotions. What if resting no longer felt like being lazy? Think about that. What if you actually got to rest? Like, I get to rest, right? Even if you have to like put it on your schedule, rest. Because you deserve it. Or what if you didn't have to prove your worth through being productive? This is a huge one because this is something that I would relate to. I often had to, or I wanted to prove that I was a good not a good person, but a good worker, or that I did a great job on certain things through being productive and staying busy, 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 busy all the time, right? So I think that's what most people are really searching for is that restoration, is that part of feeling light, fresh, and airy, right? Which is the name of this academy, right? The Algodon Academy. The word algodon, it's in Spanish and it means cotton, right? And so cotton is a very light, fresh, and airy fabric. It's a fabric of quality. It's a luxurious fabric, you could say. And so I truly believe that life ought to be this way. It ought to feel this way, right? And so this is why, like with the Algodon Academy, I created a restoration experience. This experience it's like a 4-week experience where people that are just stressed, people that are constantly tired, they finally get to understand themselves intellectually, and they finally are ready to stop living on autopilot, right? You're ready to stop that cycle of saying, "You know what? It's the same thing every day. I need that clarity. I need that moment of, listening to your inner voice that says there's something more. There's got to be something more." And there is. And so this experience that I've created is for people that they want to create a calmer, a healthier relationship with themselves. They want to make their desired life be their default. Okay? And I want you to really think about this because sometimes you think, well, this is why I worded it your desired life. Because a lot of people like their definition of success might not be yours. And so yeah, someone might appear successful on their end, but you're like, "Ah, I don't really want to do that." That's good for them, but I don't really want to do that. Right? And so in this experience, I walk you through actually finding out what is it that is good for you? What is it that is your purpose? Right? And so we learn all of the exact exercises. You're going to learn my exact method, my exact tools so that you can actually transform from the inside out. It's going to be a transformation that happens from the inside out, and it's going to be a life lasting change. It's not just mindset work. We're going to do, yes, mindset work, but we're also going to do some somatic exercises in the body, right? So that you can focus on how do you want your life to actually feel. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments. How do you actually want your life to feel? Do you want it to always be stressful and overwhelming and rushing and like you feel like you don't have time for anything or you don't have money for anything? Do you want it to keep feeling like you keep getting stuck in the same toxic relationships? What do you actually want your life to be like? I know there's a little voice inside of you that is tired of repeating the same patterns, that there's more. You it's like feeling exhausted, but it doesn't know how to get rid of it, right? You're done reading the books, you're done listening to motivational speakers, that all motivational speeches or quotes or writings or anything like that, they'll help you for a short period of time, but they're not going to help you stop living in a survival mode. Okay? So, if you are actually ready to create a life that feels more peaceful to you, that feels more intentional, that feels more aligned, that feels more like this is me, that feels more like, yes, I want to have my days to be full of life. I want my days to be full of energy, full of like perhaps when you were a little kid, right? And you had a field trip. You would wake up that day and you didn't know what was ahead. It was an adventure, right? You were excited because you would get to see your friends, you would get to have fun, play around, do fun things. And so then maybe you're thinking in your mind, well, I'm an adult now. Like that's not possible. Well, what if it is? Who says it's not? What if your restoration can lead you to you having or like restoring that fun part of you, right? And so I want to invite you that if this is calling you, and if you want to join this restoration experience, check out the link in the bio for the details and go sign up, right? Because the fact that you're actually listening to this, the fact that you're actually here and that it's clicking, it's not random. You were led here. You were divinely guided to this video so that so that your soul can be quenched. Does that make sense? Does it feel like your soul is so thirsty for something more, something else? And you are like, okay, I know that this is the pattern that I've had. I know this is my issue. I know I need to do this, but how do I jump? How do I get from this part of the bridge to this part of the bridge? How do I cross the bridge? Right? And so in the restoration experience, I show you how to get to the other side so that your desired success, your desires can just be your new default. Okay. So I'm gonna just leave it at that because I just want you to think, and I want you to end with this thought. You don't have to spend the rest of your life surviving your patterns. You don't have to spend the rest of your life living in a way that you never consciously chose. Okay. So I want to thank you for hearing me out, tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.